Welcome back to Echo Ridge. Today, we're going to be cleaning this place up, hopefully getting in a nice nature reserve somewhere in here, because I think that's the best spot for it right now, and hopefully tackling this power issue so we can once and for all get our dupes off of the wheels. As a matter of fact, we're not using any of this stuff up here, so I should have done this a long time ago, and we'll connect the hydrogen generator into our main power spine, which still has too much stuff on it, but it's going to be okay. And yeah, you don't need to do that anymore because most of this stuff can go away. We'll end up moving all this anyways. We're almost done analyzing the cool steam vent that we found down here. After that, I'm just going to box it in for now. We'll deal with this a little later once we have a better access to plastic and steel and all that sort of stuff. Right now, water is definitely not an issue, so we're not in a hurry to deal with it. Notice that all the chlorine gas is slowly getting eaten by the Dacia salt vine. It's a little bit better down here than it was. I'm going to wait a little bit, but we might go down here and try to deal with this. I'd also like to figure out why there's 50 kilos of hydrogen gas, especially considering the Saturn critter trap needs to be harvested before it can eat another bee and create more hydrogen. Well, we haven't been down here, so it could have off-gassed once, but not this many times, which is why I'm a little hopeful there's another Saturn critter trap down here. But for our first objective, let's concentrate on the nature reserve. As a reminder, the nature reserve requires there to be 4 wild plants and then a park sign. You can get by with 2 wild plants and a park sign if you just wanted the park. But if you're going to do the park, you might as well do the nature reserve. Which makes me wonder, can they get both? I have never tried this. The park has a minimum size of 12 and the nature reserve 32. So we'll keep that in mind as we're looking at how to do this. There's a couple different ways I like to approach the nature reserve, and one involves having a vertical nature reserve and all the barracks are to the left of it. So each morning when a dupe wakes up, they have to run through it. The other way is to put a nature reserve sort of horizontally and then making sure the dupes have to go through it by putting the barracks below the nature reserve. The other thing we have to keep in mind is the fact that while we're probably not going to do transit tubes on the colony this small, we want to still make sure that we have 3 tiles. I prefer 4 in our main corridor, so we have to take care to make sure that we have enough natural tiles there. Unfortunately, we've put in a bunch of deodorizers, so I may end up doing the natural tile trick, especially considering I don't want to go too far down with the main part of our base. Then again, we do have a lot of space over here. The temperature for the most part is okay, especially if I drop all this. And that way I can have the main shaft on the outside of the base, which would end up sitting, say, here. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So it's time to start digging. I'll make sure we temporarily seal in the latrine. That way we still get the +1 to morale. But this is going to give us a lot of natural tiles to work with. I am going to have to figure out what to do with all this water, though. Suppose we have some room in here. About 76 tiles worth. This is 30 tiles worth of water. And this is 24. So it will actually all fit in there. Time to grab the pumps again. That'll take a few cycles to pump out. And then we'll deal with this one as well. There's a little bit of chlorine and critters and stuff in here, but that's not going to be too big of a deal. I can drop all that into here, which I'll probably want to do because there's a lot of ice and bleach stone and everything else. Look at all this bleach stone here. And oh my goodness, we already have a mess. I guess this was to be expected. I need to start digging down as soon as possible, and I'm going to do it with the old ladder down the shaft. Except it'd probably be smarter if I put the ladder as far to the right next to the neutronium as possible. That way we have many more options of natural tiles when we're designing our bedroom and nature reserve, and hopefully a park too. I've never seen a park and a nature reserve. First pod of the day, and there's a Jabo egg in it, which is a very aggressive looking egg. But there's also a Rowan. This Rowan is a pretty decent decorating doctor, and they also cook. Now, the advantage of this is cooking doesn't take a lot of skill points. So they could be a backup or primary cook, plus the doctor and the decorator. And we don't have one of those yet. Oh, never mind. We have a Jessie. Jessie is our doctor decorator, but then again, Rowan also has a built-in Mechatronics engineering degree. It would be good to have a second cook. A second decorator is always nice because there's a lot more stuff to do nowadays with the decorating skill than it used to be. And their only real negative is that they're a loud sleeper, and you can get around that just by playing with the schedules. All you have to do is make sure no one's sleeping next to Rowan. So yeah, we're going to grab this dupe. Welcome to duplicate number 10. I am Pud. Pud doesn't know it yet, but when we do complete the main portion of our new base, Pud's going to be the inaugural runner in the dupe gym. We're going to actually have a couple of dupe gyms. More on that in a little bit. Now that we're down one layer, I am going to dig as much as possible. I am going to need a ladder here. Gonna need a ladder here because that sand's going to fall. Oh, we're about to trap some dupes. Please stop, Josh. I should have known better. The dupes are going to get themselves stuck, and this is going to be bad. Glenn, come out of there, please. It's getting a little precarious. No, no, no. Stop going down there. All right, we're not going to dig this right now. We're going to wait for everybody to get out. And then I'll dig that one tile so they can't get down. And despite my best efforts, we still managed to trap another dupe. Let's get this completed, please. Pud, are you really ready to be down here? I don't think you want any of this smoke. Speaking of which, trying to figure out what we want to put Pud into first. We don't have a lot of grilling tasks right now because we're using the smoker. And the smoker only needs to be kicked once per cycle. So I suppose we will throw them into carry. One of the few things they don't have an interest in. Do need to keep mopping this stuff up because right now all the dupes are getting sopping wet. Just when I managed to get all the stress down a little bit. Also just realized Pud is going to need another stone cot and a mess table. And these are very temporary, and this time I mean it because by the end of the episode, nothing is going to look like this. I promise. Seriously this time. Pud is going to go on their own schedule. That way Jesse's not sleeping at the same time with them. So their big huge negative is no longer an issue. That's sand, so we will need another ladder. Alright dupes, let's get to work. I didn't see that this was neutronium. What a pain in the tuchus. Makes me wonder, should I put a temporary ladder pole in? Might help them quite a bit, especially considering there's not a lot of oxygen at the beginning. Yeah, let's do it. We have plenty of metal, and we'll now have infinite supplies of both iron ore and refined iron, so I'm not too concerned about it. Okay, here it is again. Apparently resin came out of the pipes. What is going on? For those of you who may have missed the last episode, we've had a couple of cracked pipes, and I'm not exactly sure why. Resin does have a relatively high freezing point at 20 degrees, which could crack the pipes, but everything around here is at 30 degrees plus. Suppose I'm going to need a resin drop off, and I want the bottle drainer. Apparently I haven't done that research either. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of research today too. It's over here in liquids. We're going to get flow direction and then liquid distribution. I am also going to build one here for the biodiesel because I'm about to siphon all of this out. Make sure we snip it. While the dupes are digging over here, I think we can help out their process by sending an oxygen line over here. We'll put it right here. That way it'll continuously push all the carbon dioxide down. Once I manage to drop all this ice in an area further south than say here, then we'll open up the path. But I want to make sure I get all the brine, all the ice, and we'll just deal with it later. Future echo problem. I'm also figuring I should probably get rid of all this polluted water. And I have two options, here or here. Actually, instead of dropping it, why don't I just prioritize it with a bridge and then I'll pump everything else. So we'll just end up turning all this into oxygen. It'll take a little bit longer, but I figured this episode's going to take us a little while anyways, since we're doing all sorts of redesigns. It's a new home makeover. And about the easiest way to make sure this is prioritized is I will snip this off from here and then put a bridge. And that way, if there is any polluted water in this line will not move. We need another perfectly placed bridge right down there. Another here. 3 for 3. And then a little bit of power. I really should separate some of these. We're sitting at 545 watts. Was I also draining something else? Oh yeah, this one here. We should be okay. Each pump is only 240. Over here in our food supply, we are starting to get the surplus of mimicas. All the Laura plants are full. So I think I can finally start deconstructing all of these. Maybe I'll try to do it as the sweat corn comes up. And I will move these last few mimicas in here to really help these sweat corns get started. We are up to 13 tiles of overgrow. So the lums are not 100% satisfied, but they're doing okay. They're not starving at least. Remember, we're supplementing the overgrows with this wild planted one here. Something I just thought of, we were thinking that the base was going to be something like this, but the printing pod is sitting on the outside, which is always awkward when you get a new dupe. I suppose the way the dupes get out of the base is going to be through this tunnel. I could, whenever I print a new dupe, just force move them past the suits. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll see what we come up with. We did finish research on the bottle drainers, so I'll throw one there. And where did I need the other one? Ooh, this is awkward. Oh, right here for the resin. Our pump down here is finished, so this one is free and clear. So we have a little bit more power on the grid available, so we'll add yet another pump. I feel like all I've been doing for 3 episodes is moving water around, and I think the easier path is going to be right here. So what we're going to do is something a little cheeky. Put a tile in there, then I'll put a tile up there, and then we'll run the pipes through it. Also have access to the power grid right there as well. I completely forgot about this carbon dioxide geyser. I suppose we'll get it analyzed, but right now it's produced quite a bit of carbon dioxide, which is starting to come through our base. On the bottle drainers, all we have to do is select, in this case, biodiesel. This one has resin set. These new little bottle drainers are one of my favorite new buildings. The only thing I wish is you could build them in line, say something like this. But no, they have to be installed on the floor. Oh, I just made an egregious error. Starting right here, I dug down 4 tiles instead of from the ladder. Oh no, even these are messed up in the line. So after all that, it looks like I am going to be making natural tiles anyways. That really stinks. Unless, of course, I get enough down here. What a disaster. This was the whole plan, is to keep all those tiles natural so I could pip plant. Well, the digging is complete, and it's a lot more ladders than I was hoping for. We are still pumping out this water here. We will have plenty of room in our water tank, no big deal. I also made sure to put doors here that says they can only pass right through them. What I did not want to happen was somebody to mess around with the polluted dirt, then come down through here and run out with nasty little dirty hands. So now I need to give it some thought of where we're going to put the barracks, where am I going to put the park, and the nature reserve. I'm thinking this area might be okay. That would mean I would have to put however many barracks that we are going to use right here, and the bottom floor would have to go upstairs in order to get out. That doesn't exactly future-proof us, unless I just go through the painstaking process of putting in some natural tiles. Yeah, I suppose we might as well. But it would help if I put them in the right position, that's for sure. For those who've never seen this trick, when you surround a manual airlock with some tiles and then deconstruct the manual airlock, you're going to be left with a natural tile. Oh, why didn't that work this time? It worked last time. Alright, doing it again, it worked. I guess it's not a 100% chance anymore. But you're left with a natural tile out of the same material that the door was made out of. You also want to make sure your little pits here don't have any debris in them. Otherwise, it'll look like debris inside the tile and just takes away from the overall aesthetic. Now, some of you may think this is exploitive, in which I would say you're probably closer to correct than incorrect. Oh my goodness. I really need to deal with that carbon dioxide geyser. Look at all the carbon dioxide coming in through here. It is analyzed now. I don't care too much about it. The chances of us actually using it are probably slim to none. But it's still good to know, just in case you did want to try to use it. So we'll just clean up around it and then box it in. No big deal. Well, if it would stop erupting, there's 10 kilos of carbon dioxide in every single tile down here. That's not going to be great. With our natural tiles in, I can now pave paradise. We're going to be using granite. If you never know why we always try to use granite, it's because it has a decor of 6, as opposed to a normal tile, which only has a decor of 5. And the reason why is because granite itself has a decor bonus of plus 20%. Alright, we've finished that up, and our nature reserve is ready for the treatment. You'll notice I put ladders on top of the natural tiles. That way the pip will plant this one first and then go all the way down. Now we just need to figure out what kind of seeds. I'm thinking the natural plant that comes in this area will be perfect. And then we just need a little pip to come over here. And in fact, I'll speed this process by bringing 2. And that is going to be the rosebush seed. And while the pips are working on that, I need to start figuring out barracks. Which, in order to do that, I need to figure out how many dupes we want on this colony. Looking at the second and third rows, it looks like I could put 3 barracks with 8 cots each. which would be 48 dupes. I don't think we're ever going to be at that point, but because of that, I am fine with putting the barracks on the second and third row. Then we'll do toilets in the middle, along with our dirty area where we'll put the composts. Actually, because of the heat, it might be better to keep the compost out. Then again, we are going to have whole base cooling, and it would be one less task that dupes have to do inside of suits. Where did all this hydrogen gas come from? Oh, well, that's going to be a little messy. But it also means I can start on the bathrooms. I need the sinks first. We're going to start using all of our gold amalgam up because the nickel is really valuable as a conductor. And since I have plenty of room in here, maybe I can do a separate shower room. That way plenty of people can shower at one time. I like that idea. And I do have 4 blueprints available, and we need 4 lavatories, so this just seems like the way. We'll use gold amalgam once again. Oh, but I really need to make them face each other, because it's super cute when they're staring at each other going potty. Is 8 showers too many? I feel like it is. We're typically going to have 4 dupes on a shift, so I'm going to limit to 4. It's not going to be a washroom or a latrine or anything anyways. I could make it a little nicer by separating the shower by 1. That way we could eventually put statues or something in there. Not the most efficient use of space, but it'll work. I just realized I'm making all these doors out of nickel ore, which is fine. Ooh, our first ring rosebush has been planted, so it's time to remove the ladder so the pips will plant the next one. Oh, and I've just had a terrific idea. If the nature reserve park combo works together, which I'm still not convinced it is, I could put the park in the showers. Now, dupes don't shower every single day, but they do use the bathroom. So if I put the showers on the outside, they'll have to pass through our park. So I will once again put a natural tile here, and then I'll put one over in between the 3rd and 4th shower. We've completed both the nature reserve and the park. Unfortunately, if we check 270 here, you can see they're only getting the +6 for have been in a nature reserve, not the +3 for being a park. So I think I knew that once upon a time, but it was good to try again. Maybe something changed. Now I don't even like the park. On the nature reserve, I did have to make a sacrifice. The room size was too big. We're at 120 tiles here. So I could have either stopped the nature reserve right here by putting in a pneumatic door sideways. But if I would have done that, any time that they wanted to slide down to go to, say, the mess hall, they would have had to stop at the door. So I think all things considered, having the ugly tile next to neutronium was the better solution. Okay, where did the sour gas come from? We have not done anything even remotely close to making any sour gas. Double checking, everything is still good with our wonderful insulated tiles, which, by the way, we're still trying to vacuum out. Not that it's a big deal because, for instance, this tile right here sitting under the magma is still only 27.5 degrees. We're nearing another exit to the base, and I'm thinking about the solid storage, and I think we're going to drop it all the way down here. I'm not exactly sure why. I prefer to have it outside the base. It just seems smarter, because when you're doing all these sweeps around here, they don't have to go inside the base in order to drop the stuff off. Yeah, you could use the conveyor loader on the outside of the base to transfer to the inside, but this just seems like a better idea. I can't explain it. With everything ready and set up, all I have to do is deconstruct this tile. Hopefully all the water just lands right back into the same tile. Brilliant. I love it when a plan comes together. Now I can deconstruct these, get rid of this, and start putting in the wall to the left side of the base. We got a lot of construction going on right now. Our facing potties, we have the water sieve in, and I think we're going to overflow the water sieve into some overgrows for the simple reason that they are definitely thirsty at 90 kilos per cycle. Well, when you take into account that the bathroom generates an excess liquid of 6.7 kilos per duplicant, that comes up to be nearly 13.5 duplicants worth of excess water. So we put 2, possibly even 3 in, we'll have all the excess water consumption that we need. Alternatively, I could run a line all the way down to the spom and use the excess water as oxygen. It would even save me a little bit of room, but I think this will be fine. And the wall for our base is going to be this line right here. This will give us 4 across, ladder, fire pole, possibly transit tubes in the future, and then 1 more in case we need a storage bin or something. I don't know, it's a plan, we'll have to see. Our new Great Hall is finished as soon as they put in that plant. which means I can bulldoze this one. So I figure we'll do piping next on the plumbing so they can start using this bathroom. Polluted water goes up, same in the showers, all the way to the water sieve. Oh, and I just realized it'd be better if I had the overgrows over here. That way I can have an auto sweeper here that automatically picks up the polluted dirt and throws it into our wonderful composts. And oh my goodness, do we have a lot of seacomb leaves. I didn't realize that we're still feeding them with all of that polluted dirt. That's also another great use of polluted dirt. Instead of composting it, put it into seacomb leaves. And it has the benefit of not generating heat. Yeah, that's what we're doing. I just need to figure out how to get it in water. We still need the hydroponic farms for the overgrows. Such an awkward plant because they have to be planted on the ceiling, but still need to be in water. I think we'll deal with it later. We have enough going on, and that seems pretty complicated to put in the middle of your base. But with over 6.6 tons of seacomb leaf and one batch of phyto oil only taking 25 kilos, that is a lot of biodiesel. Well, once we get the renewable source of bleachstone, I just realized I was sort of wasting space over here too, because there's no reason why I can't have the overgrows just next to each other. They're still going to do all sorts of vine growth everywhere, just maybe not the middle one. So I'm going to put the overgrows over there. And what we will do is all the dirty water goes into the sieve, comes out clean, into all the toilets, sinks. It fills all this stuff up first. Little awkward transition here because of the plants that we don't really need anymore. But it still looks nice, right? Well, maybe if I add some drywall before the comments starts to blow up about it. Something park themed. Oh, I've got it. It's Jurassic Park. Also, as a reminder, make sure you drywall behind your showers. And I messed up once again because I did not use granite. Our shadowy figures wallpaper gives us 10 decor, and the granite will give us an additional 20%. For the bathrooms, I'm always at a loss of whether or not we do the plunger print or the deluxe. I don't know what that means. Softly undulating lines creating an undeniable air of luxury. I guess we'll live dangerously, and we'll use both. And I think I forgot to finish my train of thought, but once all that clean water fills all the sinks and the showers, and we have excess, it'll want to bypass this bridge. And when it does, we send it all the way over to the overgrows. I've also put in our composts. I have 2 storage bins here that are holding all the polluted dirt and rot pile, or will be. I also need to put those on priority 4s. And then 1 storage bin set to 2 tons that's holding sand to keep the water sieve going. We got a pair of auto sweepers. The first one's going to be able to take the polluted dirt that comes out of the water sieve, throw it into a bin, and then this auto sweeper takes any polluted dirt that is sitting in the bins and feeds it to the composts. Oh, that wallpaper is hideous. But we're going with it, and I can actually start this process by just running this polluted water right over here, and the water sieve will take care of it. And the dupes will start using these bathrooms. I don't know how I feel about this. I think it's the first time I've had a right-facing base. Additionally, I'm thinking it might be smarter to have the barracks, especially considering we can go up to 24 duplicates on the second row. And that way this first row is all set for activities. Of course, we have all this area down here, which is going to be next to the kitchen. I'm not sure. And I still have no idea how many dupes we're actually going to be heading to. So for now, I'll just do the 2 on the outside. And if we decide that we're going to keep it to 24 dupes, we can move everybody to the second floor. Small update, I've been using the standard tile to hike up the deodorizer because of the 3 tile spacing that it can clean. But it'd be better if I used a mesh tile. That way we don't get a bunch of carbon dioxide or whatever sitting down here. More drywall to keep everybody happy in the comments. And I think we're going to go with some pixelated drywall. We'll have the lum bedroom, and then we'll have the Jabo bedroom. Our bathrooms are starting to come online. I just need a little bit more water. I guess this already has 5 kilos, so it's ready for a flush. I think we can get rid of these. If people start peeing their pants, well, we know I was wrong. While I wait to see if that was a success or not, we are going to drywall our nature reserve using the amazing tree plant. Oh, they have not been getting the nature reserve thing because I left that open. And if I remove that, they can now get over to this point this way instead of having to go through the base. I will still put an airflow tile right there for any carbon dioxide that sinks and sits here. Being very gentle to make sure never to touch the natural tiles. Well, somewhat natural. I think I've sort of decided on where the sauna is going to go because of this volcano. If I can do something like this, it should be enough room. It's conveniently located next to our main transport spine, and it would be a great way to tame that volcano. Just trying to visualize if this is in fact enough space. I suppose I could have a sort of L-shaped, and I could possibly even block this in to be a main part of the base, and that way any duplicants going through the transporter won't actually have their suit on. And maybe by then they'll find the missing blast shot. Our pump is trying really hard to vacuum the rest of this out, and it looks like the game is starting to delete the small amounts. Oh, I don't know. There's still quite a bit over on this side. But that pump keeps on pumping. Maybe by the end of the next episode, our wonderful shaft will be vacuumed out. I think about the last thing I have to do here is to do the low priority sweep to get rid of all this stuff. We have a lot of things still in here, and some of them I don't even have a place for quite yet. Eventually, I'm also going to end up running another oxygen line up through here. That way it'll feed the suits. Remember, we had two, one for the suits and then one for the base. But we're going to have to use an overflow system because this is only enough oxygen for 17 dupes. And if I'm only feeding one pipe to the base, that's only good for 10 dupes. So if you have some sort of weird suit dilemma where nobody's wearing their suits, well, somebody's running out of oxygen if we have over 10 dupes, which we will. Man, there has been a lot to clean up here, but we're getting there. We finally found another dupe worth our time in this Turner. They're going to be another wonderful Mechatronics engineer. Their only negative is that they're gastrophobic. Doesn't matter. They're not going to be cooking. What makes them even better is the fact that they also have an interest in researching, which means they're going to level up faster as well. Welcome to duplicate number 11, Kiku. We're getting ready to switch our research stations over. No longer needed to be in front of the forgotten printing pod. We do have a nice laboratory here, which is going to give them a 10% efficiency bonus. In addition, I put the weight plates in, so anytime a duplicant is working on a research station or the supercomputer, they'll also get the well-lit buff and get another 15% bonus. Got a little bit of dirt here in this storage bin, which is now entirely too full. I don't need 20 tons of dirt there. 2 tons would be fine. And this one's holding data banks. Well, eventually. Once we finally get caught up on all the dupe tasks. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta shift this over. I've been doing something a little cheeky lately. And that's by putting a bottle filler right next to the supercomputer that's going to be filled with water coming from the overflow of our SPOM. So our SPOM will always have priority, but the leftovers will end up in the bottle filler. That way, whenever they're using the supercomputer, they can just reach over and grab the bottle. I also color coordinated our dirt and data bank storage bins. Here's all our data banks. We're not doing bad with a total of 80. We've also managed to clear this area out just a little bit. We still have plenty of work to do here. But the most important element is that our home makeover is off to a great start. Once we get suits online, we'll probably add some duplicate gyms. I'll probably also add an idle gym for when dupes get bored. And I think the next episode is going to be all about grabbing some power and possibly the sauna start. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments below. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.